part of what's been fun about collaborating on The Mandalorian with Lucasfilm and Disney is that we have been able to see through a few technical innovations and a few firsts that I think are going to have a lot of impact on the way television and movies are made moving forward. In partnership with ILM and Epic, we have put together a system whereby which we can have game engine, real-time render, and video wall technology coming together to create a backdrop for the big, beautiful world of Star Wars.
The volume is 21 feet tall, it's 75 feet in diameter, run by 7 machines, pumping the visuals onto the screen that's been created in pre-production and can be on the screen within 24 hours of being finalized.
It's incredibly impressive when you first walk out there because it completely surrounds your peripheral vision. And you really quickly forget that you're indoors and you're not out on some planet's surface. It feels like a real three-dimensional environment surrounding you because it is a three-dimensional environment.
You can allow your key creatives to all make decisions together so that the shots are captured entirely in camera, which allows for a better performance.
And what was so exciting about this is by bringing those people together, things started to click. And we started to realize, well, let's not just do green screen and interactive light. If we're going to design the whole set and game engine ahead of time, maybe we could have some in-camera effects.
If you look at visual effects heavy films, you've got a film set and then it's going to go to post and it's going to get the world put in. Here we're considering all of that at the same time, and how do we create a background and foreground that live together on the volume harmoniously?
When we started to play with the idea of using Unreal Engine for virtual production, that's one of the things that Richard and John started to embrace, is that you've got this very dynamic world where you can have randomization of things and find the happy accident that gives you the perfect shot. Being able to see the actors point at things and see what they're looking at was pretty transformative. It gave everybody context, with the added benefit that if you want to move a mountain from there to there, you can do it instantly.
You could switch between the Iceland location to the desert location, all within the same day of shooting.
The ability to shoot a 10-hour dawn is extraordinary. To shoot any sequence where you say, oh, this world's not quite right, let's just move it a little bit. An extraordinary number of benefits and advantages for shooting in that environment. It's mind-blowing what that tool is.
Shots of character in a vehicle traveling through a complex environment. It's always very difficult to do believably on stage. LED screens are a wonderful solution to that problem, because what you're doing is you're taking this technique of image-based lighting that we've been using in computer graphics for years, and use it to light a subject.
And then we would do shoots where we would texture map real lit surfaces onto our game engine Geo, and so the camera could move anywhere. We would do interiors, like Werner Herzog's office. And then you started doing things like building sets into it, having half a spaceship with reflective surfaces. And so it became exciting because by the end of the season, it was like, let's start designing sets around what this could do well.
Just like the good old days.
It's really a game changer for filmmaking.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my video for The Mandalorian Season 2. There's a whole bunch of stuff they revealed recently. There's actually some good news, even though everyone's on quarantine right now. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a giveaway for Disney Plus memberships. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your biggest theory about Mandalorian Season 2 on the video. So obviously this is mostly behind the scenes, them showing how they make the Mandalorian series, what's changed about that since the Season 1 episodes. The current quarantine, thankfully, will not affect the Mandalorian Season 2 release date. It's still coming out in October this year. The reason why we're getting it earlier is just because of the way they're structuring all the Disney Plus programming later this year with all the big Marvel shows that are coming. They finished filming the Mandalorian Season 2 finale before the big quarantine started, thankfully. There are a couple Marvel series that went on break. Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision are still tuning up some of their final episodes, but they'll come back in a couple weeks, finish their episodes, and release later this year. It won't be that bad for them. The big things about The Mandalorian Season 2, they confirmed Baby Yoda is male for everyone that was wondering. He is a little boy. I had a lot of people asking during Season 1 that were just confused. I think people just didn't watch Season 1 with subtitles because there were actually scenes during Episode 3 where Dr. Pershing refers to Baby Yoda as he, gendering him male. Please don't hurt him. If it wasn't for me, he'd already be dead. So hopefully that clears up some of that confusion. Giancarlo Esposito was also talking more about the Darksaber, Lightsaber battles that he had during Season 2. He said he had crazy lightsaber battles. He didn't say who the lightsaber battles were with, but because they're looking for other Jedi to help Baby Yoda, presumably they'll find more rogue Jedi that survived the Purge. I already did a whole video for a special Comic-Con panel he did earlier this year for the Mandalorian Season 2 story, talking about everything, so I'll link that at the end of this. It's really cool. The new stuff that he talked about recently wasn't too different from the stuff that I talked about during that other video. They also released this preview of the Gamorrean Guard that's going to be featured during Season 2. I know a lot of people saw this and they're like, wait a minute, are they going back to Tatooine? Is this meant to imply that we're going to be seeing Jabba's palace in some way because he employs a lot of Gamorrean guards? That's not necessarily what this means. It just means that there will be Gamorreans showing up during Season 2. Remember, there were Jawas on multiple different planets, so just because they went back to Tatooine and then in a separate episode we saw a Jawa sandcrawler on a different planet with a bunch of Jawas, doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be retreading all this old original trilogy ground. There'll just be a lot of original trilogy Easter eggs and references. And if you remember, the series takes place after the events of Return of the Jedi, and Jabba was killed by Princess Leia during Return of the Jedi, so technically Jabba isn't even around, even though someone like Jabba's son or someone from his family may have taken over all of his assets. The really cool thing that they get into during this video about how they make The Mandalorian is the revolutionary stagecraft that they use, those special LED walls. It's sort of like filming an episode on a holodeck, or a really primitive holodeck, because they project the environment and it maps around the room in real time, synced with the actors' movements. Jon Favreau said that when they were filming episodes, what happened during Season 1 is because it was brand new technology, a lot of the time they would just try different things and figure out how they could use this new tech with each new episode. So by the time they got into the finale, they'd found much cleverer ways to use it to make episodes look even cooler, which they then poured into their Season 2 episodes. So a lot of Season 1 was them just figuring out how they were going to film episodes. As you see them filming, there are a couple different versions of Baby Yoda that they use in episodes depending on what kind of scene it is and what they need him to do. This is a scene of them filming Baby Yoda for Season 2, and as you can tell, this is the full-blown puppet version of the character. The way that Yoda during the original trilogy was just a really complex puppet operated by Frank Oz and a couple other people. The other versions of Baby Yoda that they've used in episodes are a combination of special effects and live puppetry, lesser versions of this version. Really good example of a full CG Baby Yoda is when he's using crazy force powers, like when he's force choking Cara Dune here. It's very noticeable that he's a totally different looking version than just a minute later in the next scene when the Mandalorian picks him up telling him to stop choking her and they go back to filming with the regular puppet. Right after they finished releasing The Mandalorian Season 1 Episode 8 finale last year, there was a report that the Baby Yoda puppet cost them around $5 million to make. The actors here, Jason Sudeikis from Saturday Night Live and Adam Pally that played the incompetent scout troopers, said that because they had to punch Baby Yoda in their scene, they were asked to chill out a little bit by Jon Favreau, who got really nervous after they punched Baby Yoda too hard for fear of breaking the puppet. The reason why they're saying Baby Yoda cost $5 million to make is just because of how complex the puppet is. It has to be able to hold up on screen at 4K and articulate as if it was a real creature. It's also one of a kind. It's not like they had a baby version of the original Yoda puppet to copy before they made Baby Yoda. So some of that $5 million that they're reporting is probably the cost of them figuring out what he was going to look like in development and alternate versions that they tried along the way. So hopefully they'll release some more behind-the-scenes featurettes and teasers for Season 2. If they do, I will totally do a video for it, or if you have a special request. Obviously, things are going to be really crazy for the next couple of weeks, so if you have special requests for videos, just let me know in the comments. I will still be doing regular videos like I would for everything else. For the most part, television is unaffected. It's just the movie releases in theaters that have been postponed temporarily. But I know everyone's hoping that they'll release Black Widow on Disney+. I'm not expecting them to do that, but if we do hear any news about what's going on, I'll totally do an update video. As long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see those videos when I post them. Everyone click here for that other big Mandalorian Season 2 teaser video, and click here for that brand new Marvel Phase 4 Spider-Man 3 movie announcement. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.